You're listening to I Have Some Notes, a podcast supported by listeners like you. To contribute, visit patreon.com/I Have Some Notes. So I've got my notes for a sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife ready on these index cards. Can I run them past you?
Hit me.
The cast of the previous film is on board, including Murray.
Perfect.
I mean, we got to have the Stay Puft guy and Slimer.
Make them little so we can sell toys.
The big bad villain ghost freezes people with their own fear of death.
That will play great in the trailer.
And Kumail Nanjiani will be one of the legendary firebenders to stand in the way of Aang and his friends.
What?
Oh, God, I'm sorry. That's for the live-action Avatar show. Sorry, that got mixed in. Let me just take that out.
Wait. Leave it in. I have some notes. Welcome, everyone, to I Have Some Notes, the movie podcast with cuts, keeps, punch-ups, and tweaks on mediocre movies. I'm Liam Creswick.
I'm Scott C. Bourgeois.
I'm Greg Beer.
And today we are discussing Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire.
Dare I say the last Ghostbuster movie we do?
Yes, probably.
Because we've done all but one.
It's,
I suppose.
I mean, they might continue to make more of them. They keep making money.
I don't know if they do. If I have in the show notes, I've got the box office for this one. I don't know if they're going to keep going.
I'm rather excited to do this one. The movie itself left me quite cold, pun intended. But it's such a mess. I'm excited to notes it because it's just such a juicy catastrophe that I'm like, we can fix this up. This will be good.
Like I went into this movie with very low expectations. Afterlife was fine. We had a lot of ideas for how to fix it. I remember that being quite a good episode to discuss, actually. So I went in with low expectations. I actually kind of enjoyed this one, but I can see the flaws. Like, it's weird because I'm like, I can see what's wrong with this movie, but there's so many different disparate parts that I kind of want to keep that I'm legitimately like not sure how to pull at the threads without having the whole thing just unravel.
I disagree also in that I was mostly bored by it and I can see exactly how we can shore this up. This is spilling over the top of the container, and we simply need to I wish we had video podcast. I'm doing a gesture with my hands, like trying to pile something or stack something, right? Like, yeah, it's all there. It's still good.
My experience was very much like Scott's the first time I watched it, where I was pleasantly surprised, or at least along for the ride. Like, I was like, all right, because I did like Afterlife, and this was more or less the same as far as, tone and level of humor it was giving off. So the second time around, I don't know, like the flaws really showed their ass.
I don't know how much I liked Afterlife, but if you go back and listen to the episode we did on it, I felt things about it. There were parts I really enjoyed. The first, the chase where they got the thing coming out of the car, very fun. But things I didn't like the Harold Ramis ghost. I felt things, conflicted things, but felt things in Afterlife. This, what a dull movie.
Like, I've heard it described as like a decent episode of the real Ghostbusters.
A way too long episode of the real Ghostbusters.
It would be a really long one, but yeah, like, it just in terms of like the monster of the week kind of feel to it,
Do you know why that cartoon is called The Real Ghostbusters?
I do.
Yes, because there's another Ghostbusters cartoon show that was it a Hanna-Barbera show, I believe?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
It's the one it had the monkey in the talking car.
That's right.
Yeah, and
I think that was based off of like a 50s serial, as well, right?
There was a live action thing that it was based on, including a guy in a gorilla suit. And yeah, they had the rights to use the name in the film, but not on television. And so they renamed it The Real Ghostbusters, kind of to stick it to the Hanna-Barbera guys.
Yeah.
Well, this film, The Real Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire.
Frozen Empire.
Directed by Gil Keenan, who did Saturday Night Live and Monster House, which I just saw a really good essay about Monster House. Weird movie. I remember when it came out, I worked at a video store. Written by Gil Keenan and Jason Reitman, based on Ghostbusters from 1984. And as Greg mentioned, we have some box office. It was a $100 million movie, and it made $113 million. Domestically, 200 worldwide. So, like, just barely justifies its existence in Hollywood.
You know,
yeah, with the marketing, you wonder, like, it's probably underwater, but maybe in the long run, it makes some money. It is Sony, though. And Sony seems to rarely give up on a franchise, so maybe this keeps going.
I will say too, like, box office numbers can be weirdly misleading in a way, but it's historically so. But nowadays, because we've lost the aftermarket for movies, specifically with like DVD sales and stuff having tanked due to streaming, a lot of movies that would have made money later in their life hitting home video and recouped some of that cost becoming a cult classic. And I'm not saying this is necessarily one of those movies that would have. They don't get the chance to do that anymore. They're just like, well, that was a flop. We're done. Pull the plug. And it's like, that's tragic because it was actually a pretty decent movie and it would have found its legs after mainstream audiences ignored it in theaters and found it later on video, right? It's a shame. That's all I'm saying. Another reason why it's a shame the DVD market collapsed.
Yeah, and it kind of, I don't know, it ruins the possibility of something endearing to you because you haven't invested as much in it. You know, like if you have to invest $25 to go see Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and you're just not going to do it, and then, you know, in the old days, like, you could just rent it for $6 or whatever and bring it home from Blockbuster, and maybe then at that point, like, maybe the movie isn't great, but you are happy with your rental and you think, you know, fondly of it going forward. Whereas now, I don't know, like, the value of movies is so low that now it just feels like the movie wastes your time entirely because you know, you're just
the 2 hour investment is more annoying than the $6
because there's so much other things to choose from. I'm like, I could have watched like so many other things that would have been better. On
our Discord, to plug our Discord early in this episode, we were having a conversation kind of in line with this just a little while ago, and I brought up that I miss second run movie houses. I miss being able to spend $1 or $2 to go see a movie that I missed on its first run. And I think this is the kind of movie that may have done well on a second run because people, as you say, might not have been willing, who maybe were a little leery after the first movie or just were like, I don't want to go see this movie for $30 over at the premium VIP theater. But like the cheap dollar theater, yeah, okay, I have an afternoon. Why not? It's something to do. I mean, that's another way that it can recoup some of the cost, right? So I don't know. There's so many other revenue streams that movies used to have that streaming has absolutely nuked. And it's a shame that some movies just never find their legs because they aren't necessarily hitting with mainstream audiences or they aren't marketed right. And it's not till later they find their audience, but at that point it's too late because the movie didn't make all of its money on its opening 2 weeks in theater before it hit streaming, and it's a flop.
Yeah. Yeah. The other problem too now is that there's so many streaming platforms that even if something does, like, after its theater run, kind of get like a little bit of a lift from people watching it on stream, you know, so many people are just on different platforms that you don't get the collective lift that you need to bring it into like an aftermarket sort of cult classic kind of status.
Not everybody has Apple or not everybody has Amazon Prime, and suddenly it's an exclusive on Paramount Plus, and like 3 people watch it because nobody's subscribed to that anymore.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. most people don't have Apple. if the streaming numbers are to be believed, there's so many good shows on there that nobody has seen.
I only recently got it to go through. The studio's so good. I'm enjoying the studio, but nonetheless,
we got way
back to
off topic.
Ghostbusters. Yeah, things are changing. The cast stars McKenna Grace as Phoebe Spengler, Paul Rudd as Gary Gruberson, Carrie Coon as Callie Spengler, Finn Wolfhard as Trevor Spengler, Kumail Nanjiani as Nadine, Patton Oswalt as Dr. Herbert Warski.
I think you said that right.
Yeah, I truly couldn't tell you that character's name.
His library nerd.
It was Patton Oswalt. That's who it was.
It's Patton Oswalt as library nerd lore dump. And most of the original cast. So they're back. No Harold Ramis ghost though.
Yeah. There is, however, a surprise James Acaster as Ghostbuster Lars, as Ghostbuster scientist Lars. Yeah, there's a lot of people in this movie. And the movie wants you to see them and like them, and also doesn't know what to do with most of them because there's too many people.
Yep.
Podcast is back from the first movie.
I was lucky.
The girl that Finn Wolfhard was into is back from the first movie.
Lucky.
And they're mostly just kind of there as NPCs, as you kind of would put it. Yeah, it's even Finn Wolfhard, Trevor Spengler doesn't have much to do in this movie.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to get to the fixes. I got everything you're saying. I got it. I got this movie on lockdown.
The tragedy is I like a lot of the business that the characters have, and I like the characters. Like I think they were well done in this movie for the most part. Again, it's just there's too much. There's too much going on. They've given everybody way too much business, and not all of it dovetails nicely into the end. Like it's
great way to put it.
Yeah.
One of the things I did like was the revelation that Winston has been running this sort of proper Ghostbusters lab. I was like, oh, that's a great addition to the lore. Like if they've got guys working on proton accelerators in a box, you think it would attract a few nerds who want to like get their hands on the project?
I have two things to say about this. Number one of my fixes for the first movie was exploring the knock-on consequences of the original 80s movies and kind of expanding the world a little bit. This movie does that. And I think that's one of the reasons why I like this movie is because it took my recommendation from the first movie and kind of tried to do it. And one of the things that I really liked was that Winston, of all people, because he was the most underbaked Ghostbuster in the original movies, was the one who like invested wisely and is now bankrolling the whole operation. Like he's the head Ghostbuster now. And he's expanded the organization and he's built this like this whole science division for it to study ghosts. And I'm just like, this is great. This is great stuff. Where was this in the first movie?
I agree. And it's a fun contrast to this is even kind of a light note. So much of in any of the Ghostbusters movie, it's baked into like occult, mythic, magical lore, Dan Aykroyd shit. And seeing them take this very academic, engineering approach to dealing with something that is the occult. I thought there was a really fun sort of juxtaposition there that I wish they had played around more with.
That even in the original Ghostbusters, that was kind of the poles between Egon and Ray. Ray is the true believer. The moon landing was fake and was done by ghosts who were ethereal spirits left over by Nazis. Like he's that guy. Egon is the hard science guy. And the two of them are working together to bridge the gap. Egon's trying to find the science behind the paranormal, and Ray's trying to find the paranormal in the science, if anything. And so having this lab, that, if anything, should be Egon's legacy. And the one thing that I found most unbelievable in this film was that Phoebe Spengler, the day after being told she can't be a Ghostbuster going out and shooting like high-powered lasers at ghosts out in the field anymore, gets introduced to this giant science lab and isn't over the moon at the prospect of interning there instead. Because I want to be clear, Egon Spengler was not a Ghostbuster for the love of busting ghosts. He was a Ghostbuster to bankroll his science addiction.
Yeah.
And if Phoebe is a chip off the old block, she should be science first. She even says she believes in quantum physics over like any sort of spiritual stuff in this movie. And yet the prospect of working in a lab, studying and understanding ghosts was like, that's not good enough. I need to shoot lasers.
Yeah, especially as a consolation prize.
Yeah.
Like I could see it if she was like presented the two options and wants to take gunslinging, but one is taken away. She should. Yeah. I had the same thought immediately, and I will use that note as a catalyst for fixing all. Like I funnel a bunch of problems through that problem.
Good.
What else we like about it?
I mean, again, I like all the characters. I liked that the old school Ghostbusters weren't just showing up for a cavalry cameo in this movie. They were all kind of baked into the plot. I enjoyed some of the business that some of the characters, I kind of liked Trevor trying to hunt down Slimer in the old Ghostbusters house.
Yeah.
And then Slimer
that had
coming back
to do with
something
plot at all.
It was a little Shaggy Dog story, but Slimer does show up and eats the possessor at the end, which is pretty funny.
Yeah. There is some minor purpose to it.
I did like
was it a great payoff? Maybe not, but yeah, that's fine.
I liked the payoff of and again, this was something that I suggested from the last movie, them considering like, oh, we never thought about what would happen if the containment unit ever got full because it was the 80s and we weren't thinking that far ahead. Like, yes, consequences. Show me that. Oh, we have to keep the fire hall because when Peck shut off the containment unit in the first movie, he punched a hole in reality. And if we ever take down the fire station, all of the afterlife is going to invade the Earth. Well, more consequences to our stupid ghost busting antics. Great.
Yeah.
More of that, please. And I do like an occult mystery, and this had an occult mystery in it. Even though Patton Oswalt just explains it all at one point, it was still kind of fun. Even if the big bad was a little underwhelming, I was kind of on him. He looked goofy.
I genuinely still like the thrust of a family becomes a family of Ghostbusters. I think that's interesting, different angle. I like that about Afterlife. I still like it here. I like the character of Phoebe Spangler. I think McKenna Grace is a pretty strong actress, and she does a good job with it. The problem, I think the first time I watched it, I feel like most of the nostalgia bait stuff kind of washed over me, and I wasn't annoyed by it. And I don't want to say I was annoyed by it this time, but it was, I don't know. There's just a little bit too much of it. And, I like that, Ray and Winston were having this conversation about, how old they are, and Ray insisting that, he might be old, but this is what he wants to do with his life. Like, he wants to retire this way. Like, he loves this stuff. And that felt very in character for Ray Stantz, right? So I like that bit. There just wasn't a great sort of conclusion to that little story arc that they had started.
I think one of the big problems with this movie is that there are no good conclusions to almost any of the story arcs. Yeah. They set a bunch of they set up a bunch of dominoes and then never start knocking them down. And that's true with a bunch of the little side quests that people are on in this film. Right. And Ray is absolutely one of the victims of that.
What's even more frustrating with that, because you're right, there's things set up, there's dominoes to knock down, but then when it comes time for the villain's big plan, it is this rushed, convoluted nonsense where he needs Melody the Ghost to dupe Phoebe into getting into a ghost, take your soul out of your body chamber so that she can be a ghost with Melody is the promise, but really it's so that she's unconscious, so that the bad guy can make her say magic words. It's like, not only is that convoluted and shitty at the best of times, but it is not set up really well anywhere other than the fact that, like, okay, we see them take the ghost out of the CD player, and then Phoebe's like, can you do human trials? They're like, no.
Yeah. Usually a pretty good indication that a movie is bloated is if I'm trying to write the plot summary for it and I'm getting annoyed and pissed off at it. Because there's so many little tiny things that you have to like try and mention in order to sum this stupid thing up, right? And yeah, that's kind of how I felt about it.
We should go to the plot summary with that as a suggestion. Thank you.
For the first time in New York history, people froze to death in the middle of July.
What is it?
The death chill. The power to kill by fear itself. Your veins turn to rivers of ice. Your bones crack. And the last thing you see is your own tear ducts freezing up.
Like, literally scared to death? So cool.
3 years after defeating Gozer the Gozerian in Oklahoma, Phoebe Spangler is living her best life as a teenage science prodigy helping reestablish the Ghostbusters in New York. Her mother, brother, and Gary are all also Ghostbusters because, hey, gotta do something. The good times come to an abrupt end when their reckless ghost hunting leaves several city blocks scarred by a chaotic storm of proton streams. To appease now Mayor Walter Peck, Phoebe is benched for being underage. Moping around Central Park feeling sorry for herself, she meets Melody, a teenage ghost who, accidentally burned herself and her family alive? Jeez Louise, this is a comedy, right? Meanwhile, Nadeem, a man who would sell you his last match in a blizzard, visits Ray Stan's occult shop to hawk a curious brass ball owned by his recently deceased grandmother. The ball's psychic energy buries the PKA needle, alarming Ray into purchasing the item and bringing it to the Ghostbusters research facility. Better described as a ghost zoo operated by Winston Zedmore and a couple NPCs, the facility provides the ball with an opportunity to release a dangerous specter called the Possessor, who follows Ray and the crew to the New York Public Library. Like in the first movie. There they meet Exposition Man, who explains the ball is a trap created by an ancient order called the Fire Masters, who imprisoned the ice demon Garaka within. Meanwhile, Phoebe extracts her own soul so she can hang on the spectral plane with Melody. Too bad Melody has been working for Garaka this whole time for the promise of passage to the afterlife. Garaka uses Phoebe's body to speak an incantation that frees it to wreak icy havoc in New York City. Phoebe must help rally the Ghostbusters to defeat Garaka and rid New York of its death chill. That summary was very concise and explains the main plot of this movie and nothing else of so much more of what is happening in this movie.
Yeah, there's a whole thing about Finn Wolfhard wants to be taken seriously as an adult. Paul Rudd has to learn to be a dad who can, lay down the law and not just be fun stepdad. There's 3 special ghosts. There's the Possessor, there's the other slime guy, and then there's the big heavy in the aquarium that were just sort of like introduced. And then I really thought, and this is going to tiptoe in my fixes here, my turn to say it. When we meet those 3 very distinct ghosts with specific bits, I'm like, oh, they're going to be the generals to the Orb's army.
Right.
They're going to be the 3 lieutenants. Because we've got 1 million characters. We need something for the 1 million characters to fight. And I immediately assumed it was going to be, because there's like the big scary one in the tank, right? Mm-hmm. That's not Garaka. It's just a different scary fucker.
The little one that spits slime.
And then the Slimer Jr.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, those are lieutenants. Garaka's going to get out and he's going to have 3 minions to back him up. And that barely happens. Yeah.
The Possessor helps him out a bit. The slime guy spits at James Acaster and then is never seen or heard from again. And the big heavy one, never seen or heard from again as soon as he
never
gets
seen
out,
or heard from again.
Just gone. Yep.
To the point where because we never see him, I'm like, was that Garaka? And I just confused it, but no, So, well, do we want to get right into fixes?
Well, no, I want to touch on a couple things before we get into fixes.
Sure.
Because there were a couple key things that bothered me. One was they kept talking about the death chill, where Garaka had the power to freeze you to death through fear alone. But all the ice was manifested like it was like real ice. It wasn't fear. Like nobody got so scared that they just froze, which would have been a cool idea.
Yeah.
Like that would have been really interesting, but they all just like, they got froze because it was cold, because there was ice coming out of everything. Like that, like if their intention was that people were getting so scared that they froze, they failed miserably visually because they completely misdirected that.
Yeah. And it even, you know what I like about that too, is if they had just sort of been like paralyzed with fear, part of the reason everyone gets frozen is then when they beat the bad guy, everyone gets unfrozen, shakes it off and goes, whew, we were temporary victims in an action movie. Whereas I know, that's how we got Captain America, but if you get frozen to death, you're dead. You're not just shaking it off and going back to walk around. But if you're scared to death by a scary possessing ghost, and you've got the scared delusions, that's a thing I feel like the whole city of New York could shake off. All the people on the beach or whatever, right?
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Because it did look, because I mean, in the opening scene, people get frozen, and there's like a really cool thing they have where there's a guy playing a phonograph, like one of those crank driven ones, and he's been frozen, and all that's cranking is just his hand. That's kind of creepy and gross, kind of a neat visual. But again, that suggests that the freezing is
lethal.
Like a lethal and like kind of a real physical, tangible thing, not an emotional state. Where you get so scared you die. So I just, they kept talking about it, and I think you guys hit it nail on the head in the opening pitch, where you said like that'll sound great in the trailer, because that's kind of the only real payoff it had, which is unfortunate. The other thing that I have an issue with this movie is surrounding melody. And I guess in a way, Afterlife kind of brings this up too. But what I thought the movie was sort of positing, the big question that it was positing was, is ghostbusting really the right thing to do? Because suddenly you have this ghost in Melody, who's just a normal girl who did something terrible and is seeking some kind of peace, right? And so it begs the question of like, if you shot her with a proton beam and then trapped her and then threw her into the ecto containment unit, like, would that be a good thing to do?
Yeah.
It kind of seems like it wouldn't.
Because actually, I'm on the same page as you, because when she first arrives at the old fire hall and she's looking at the containment unit, my initial thought was, oh, her parents were ghost busted and they're trapped in the containment unit. And she wants to get them out so that they can move on to the afterlife, because they are in effectively permanent purgatory in ghost jail. And I was like, that's huge. That's big brain dissection of the consequences of ghost busting. That is a deconstruction of what they're doing.
Yep.
The movie then never goes there. And I was let down by that.
They set up things that ask questions that they really have no interest in answering or talking about at all. And that is extremely frustrating. Especially since you've hooked this whole thing around ghostbusting being a family thing now. So it is more emotionally grounded, or at least it could be. And therefore you could ask those, higher questions if you wanted to.
Well, and plus you even have the dichotomy in that case between Melody and her parents, who are harmless ghosts, who've been in my big brain idea been ghost busted because they just happen to be ghosts, versus Garaka, an actual threat who needs to be contained. And so you get to have a conversation of like, when is it right to ghost bust, and when should we maybe be helping these spirits move on?
Yeah. And could even then reinforce some of those themes of like occult versus science. We use the occult to help people pass on with ritual and ancient traditions, and we lock them up with proton packs when they're going to be dicks about it.
when they're dangerous monsters who are trying to freeze the world. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it would basically be an allegory for, divesting from the police, which I'm not sure a franchise that was written by Reaganites is super interested in talking about.
Incredible observation. Thank you for that. Yeah.
Yeah, those are my 2 bits that I really wanted to get to. But if we wanted to jump into fixes, I'm happy to do that too.
Well, I will say really quick, for the listeners' benefit, Liam, before we started recording, said, I want to leave a lot of time for fixes because I've got a lot to say. So we should probably get into it.
Yeah.
It's coherent though. I've broken it down. I've really taken the problem and broken it down into chunks. So this won't be a classic Liam rambling, trying to redo the whole script in one breath. But yeah, on the other side of this, we will fix Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire.
What's up, nerds? This is Josh from Talking Smack, where we talk superheroes, movies, animation, comics, and so much more. Every week, we break down the latest blockbuster movies, TV shows, revisit comic events. We even talk to comic creators like Kyle Higgins, Melissa Flores, and Matt Groom. And don't miss out on our Superhero Showdown episodes where we debate your suggestions on who would win in a fight, or maybe they might become friends. So join in on the conversation with me, Josh, and my co-host Alex every Wednesday on your podcatcher of choice. Look for our yellow and red icon, and we'll see you soon, Smackheads.
Welcome back to I Have Some Notes. We're talking Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. The problems with this are myriad. There's too many characters. Yeah?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
There's convoluted motivations.
Yep. Too many side quests.
Yeah. I feel like I have fixes for all of these if you'll indulge me. So, the too many characters thing, I think you can collapse some of them, give the things other characters have to do to other characters so they have stuff to do. So unfortunately it means cutting Kumail Nanjiani entirely and turning Trevor into the Fire Master. Trevor being Finn Wolfhard's character. Okay. But it's not some kind of like ancient legacy he's got. He's not tied to some sort of history. It's another MacGuffin. It's a brass magic thing. Cause I really like the idea that like Garaka's in an orb, kind of like an old ancient proton pack. And they keep talking about brass suffused with emotions and memories being able to control ghosts. So there's kind of your ancient gun.
Basically,
the proton.
Basically, your fix is turning the Fire Masters into an ancient version of Ghostbusters.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I like that.
And Finn Wolfhard's character gets this sort of like brass magic wand or something that was also somehow gathered in relation to the person, gathering the orb, whoever it is because now you cut Kumail Nanjiani, we have to find a different way to get Ray the orb, but whatever, we can hand wave that away. But he's got some kind of ancient brass magic weapon suffused with ghostbusting power. And at some point in the film, it fails him or something, and he uses the fire pole to replace or enhance it. They need a bigger brass wand, and it's the fire pole. Because I love the idea that the fire pole is suffused with Ghostbusters memories and is now the brass weapon they need. But it is absurd that Phoebe boils it down, coats her weapon in it in the same time it takes the other ones to just like drive to the scene of the crime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like it better if the brass pole becomes like a catalyst weapon, like a what do they call it? So it's a proton pack on your back. What's the gun they have? Does it have a name?
I thought it was just the proton gun, but maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
But anyway, so yeah, orb is backpack, brass rod is gun, and they need to use the ancient ghost busting technologies as part of their success plan.
In theory, orb is ghost trap.
Trap. That was the difference I was trying to distinguish. Orb is trap. Brass is pack and gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That's actually a really slick fix, and it gives Trevor more to do in the movie, and more to do in the climax as well.
Put a pin in that. Yes. Also, unfortunately, it kills me. I'm a stand-up comedian. So much of the comedy I do is because of Patton Oswalt. It's an all-time favorite. Made me think I can do this. Short, chubby guys can be funny.
There's always a need for character actors.
Precisely. But unfortunately, I think you cut Patton Oswalt and you have Ray give that lore dump.
I agree. I mean, Ray's already steeped in the occult. He's got his little magic shop. He could have done the research and found that without going to Patton Oswalt and having another character. As much as I like seeing all of these different like people in this occult world that they inhabit, it makes the world feel bigger. If in the timeline of the movie, it's just too much. If this was a TV series, if this was an 8-episode Netflix series, sure, have the occult librarian. We don't have the time for it in this movie. I absolutely agree. Give Ray that business. He's perfect for it.
However, we love Kumail Nanjiani. Excited for next season Taskmaster. We love Patton Oswalt. And I also love James A. Caster as the engineer. But also Lucky is there, the girl from the last movie who has the least to do out of anyone. Her, James A. Caster, and then either Kumail Nanjiani or Patton Oswalt, who's ever schedule or who's ever the price is right, make up the trio of engineers at Winston's lab. And you can have James A. Caster, the science guy, Patton or Kumail as the occult guy on deck, and then Lucky as the audience surrogate family core cast placement.
They're almost like the second Ghostbusters team in that case. Yeah.
Precisely.
I actually like that. I think that's clean. Yeah.
Yeah, you can have them be once Garaka is released, they get frozen inside the facility. So then you have a tangible like characters we like that we now must save kind of thing. The grounding, because we don't really know anyone outside of the Ghostbuster Hall who's in trouble, so to speak. So that would definitely help.
I have a really good little bit of plot business for this. Garaka gets out and freezes the facility, but also traps them inside with the 3 ghosts that have been released: the Possessor, the Heavy, and the Spitter. But they also have the new advanced proton packs. Ooh. And the Ghostbuster stuff was confiscated by the police. They need to, so you have the core Ghostbusters back at the fire hall trying to hold the fort, waiting for the cavalry to arrive. Well, the cavalry has to fight off these 3 dangerous ghosts and get out of the facility. So you have this B plot with them trying to escape so they can get the tools to the other Ghostbusting team.
I love that way better. I had a thing where I was going to make like I said, have the 3 ghosts in the lab be like generals. And then, because there's essentially becomes the way this plays out, there's 3 Ghostbusters parties. There's the Spangler family, the OG Ghostbusters, and the Engineer B team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so 3 parties, 3 ghosts, but I think yours is more elegant.
And then it almost, there's this weird, almost like horror movie going on with them trapped in the facility. And, it gives Lucky an opportunity to step up and be a leader, because you could have Patton Oswalt and James A. Caster be fighting over what they need to do, and she can be like, no, and then she gets a nice little character arc and some character development, rallies them together, they beat the 3 ghosts, and then because we know what these ghosts are about, we've been studying them, you guys, and then off they go to show up in time to help everybody else out with the super proton packs, right?
Fuck yeah. And Podcast is there because he needs, if he's not there, he's with the Spanglers, but Podcast needs something to do and he can join one of the parties.
Honestly, I think he's hanging around with Ray, filming him the whole time.
Well, the thing is I want less of Ray in general. I want to see about as much as I didn't quite get to it because you really took the ball and that was great.
I apologize.
No, apologize. It was excellent. You said exactly what I wanted, other than if Ray becomes the Patton Oswalt character, that means I only want to see Ray get the orb, drop off the orb, and then show up with a lore dump. That's all I need to see of Dan.
Yeah, and then his role becomes a little bit more similar to what it was in Afterlife.
Yeah. He does not need to be palling around with them in multiple scenes. So dig it. So then my other fix, that ties, this is the one we are going to funnel the whole thing of like Phoebe should be excited to be at the Ghostbusters labs, right?
Yeah.
Because one of the things that really bothered me, Melody is working for Garaka, right?
Yeah.
How does Garaka get a hold of her? Why does she listen? Well, I know she listens to Garaka because Garaka promises her a ticket to pass on to the afterlife. But like, how does Garaka get a hold of her? And how do either of them know that Phoebe Spangler is both has the intelligence to enact their plan and the emotional vulnerability from being butthurt about not being a Ghostbuster to be emotionally manipulated. Like, it just kind of comes out of nowhere.
But if Phoebe's working at the lab where the orb is being stored, and she's complaining
orb
to
and Melody.
You think
there is a
stored
fourth ghost. Melody is at the lab voluntarily seeing if she can get Winston and James Acaster and Lucky to help her pass over, and is not succeeding. And now you have organic, reasonable FaceTime. Phoebe's at the new kid at the lab.
Yep.
And this ghost is getting tired of volunteering at the lab and is desperate. They get along. They hit it off just in time for Garaka's orb to also land in the lab. And in after hours, he's got Melody's ear being like, yo, your new friend, you should manipulate her. If you manipulate her, I'll let her out. I'll let you out, you know?
I love this. I like the idea of like, there's a whole bunch of these supposedly dangerous ghosts, and then Melody is introduced as being the one who isn't in some kind of like cage or protective containment unit.
And then like she's the one who's the most dangerous.
She just apparates and just like, and then, you know, they just start hitting it off right after that. Yeah, I think that could work. And it does at least suggest that the Ghostbusters are interested in ghosts in a deeper way, in a way that is not just busting but helpful, which I think is better for this movie if they're going to bring that up at all.
Yeah. So, and it's just a much more organic way. It's a more organic way for Phoebe to meet Melody, and it's a more organic way for Garaka to meet Melody and Phoebe and learn that Phoebe's prime for manipulation.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That also cleans that up very nicely. I wish there was a way to sneak in my idea of Melody's family having been ghostbusted at some point in the past.
Thank you for that reminder.
But
here's how
I don't know if there is.
Nope.
Okay, no, fair enough.
Sure does.
You got it.
Garaka, that is how Garaka, no, hang on. Maybe not. I'm gonna say that's how Garaka like gets under Melody's skin, but I think the promise of going to the afterlife is better.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if there is a way to work it in.
That's okay.
I do like that idea, though.
It's an interesting idea, but it just might not work with the plot as presented.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if you open that bit up, it does become quite a different movie, and I'm not even sure that Garaka fits into that movie. You know?
Yeah.
Because then it might be more of a movie in which Melody's parents are sort of like the bigger danger or something like that.
I disagree. I think it would be interesting. And just hear me out for a minute. This is a little tangential from the movie that we're pitching at the moment. If Melody was using Garaka to break out her parents, not Garaka using Melody to take over the world, it puts more on her. It gives her more agency, and she's a more interesting character than the stupid monster ghost that everybody's focused on. And everybody is focused on him and not paying attention to the 16-year-old, 40-year-old ghost who's actually manipulating things behind the scenes, not necessarily to get revenge on the Ghostbusters, but just to get her parents out of containment. And that would be interesting in itself, because then it's Garaka thinks he's the one in charge, but at the end of the day, it was actually Melody manipulating him the whole time. Sure, I think that would be very funny and interesting, especially because everyone is assuming that Garaka is the big threat.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's there's something to that for sure.
Is your idea that Melody would be willing to do just about anything to get her parents out of the containment unit, even putting everyone in danger by doing so?
Kind of, yeah, because she's desperate at this point. But that said, I think that she does make a meaningful connection with Phoebe and then starts to maybe have second thoughts, but it's too late. She's already set Garaka in motion. And she does free her parents, but then goes back to help stop Garaka. Like, she was just going to abandon this plane and leave with her parents to the afterlife, but she can't bring herself to do that. And so she does come back, and I don't know if she makes a sacrifice and gets herself contained with Garaka in order to stop him, to save everybody, having freed her parents at the very least, or if she gets a happy ending and helps stop Garaka. I don't know how that would end in that case, but I think
I like the sacrifice idea because, I mean, she's essentially responsible for her family's death.
and
so
maybe even their containment.
Yeah, it would make sense that if they were, if they were released, that they would get basically free passage to the afterlife, and then she's stuck, dealing with the mess that she's created, getting them out of containment.
Also a fun juxtaposition of she, back in the day, burned herself and her family to death, and now she's going to freeze everyone to death to get
Right.
Yeah. And then ultimately comes and helps contain Garaka again at the cost of herself being contained with him.
Yeah, that's
again, that's a very different movie from the one you're pitching, though. So maybe that's like alt. That's version B.
Yeah. But with or without the parents, I think I like that you guys are on board for having basically Garaka and Phoebe show up at the lab at the same time.
Yeah. No, that's
to get melody between them.
That's really good.
Yeah.
My last pitch, like I said, Finn Wolfhard's now the firebender. And if he's got to use his big brass, the fire pole as the proton pack to Garaka's ancient orb trap, he shows up when, right when Phoebe's on the back foot, right when everything looks the most dangerous. He shows up just like Kumail Nanjiani does when the time is right. And he's doing it, he's helping, but they're gonna need more help. The B team shows up and they all put their hands on the fire pole, and that helps give it some juice because we've got memories. The brass has been suffused with so many memories. And then the OG Ghostbusters show up and they all and so everyone's got a hand on the proton pack because it's a physical long pole. Well, and it's got that like almost like Iwo Jima look, like
And it ties into that whole family thing, right? Like we all need to work together to bring him down.
Little corny, but it's a blockbuster 4-quadrant movie, so it's not the kind of pitch.
It's a PG-13 movie.
I wouldn't put this in a movie I was writing, but
Yeah.
So that's how you put a bow on all of it. Is literally everybody has to come together and hold the brass rod of family and friendship.
I mean, it does actually give all of those people a reason to be there, which is kind of nice. That's one of the problems I had with the climax, is that a lot of the characters feel very superfluous and they do disappear at times for a good chunk. I think I lost track of whatever happened to, is it Finn Hole? I feel like I lost track of like the, what's her name? Lucky and, podcast and James Acaster and all those guys. Yeah. So
because you basically, like I said, you can then now break it without Kumail Nanjiani. You can break it down into 3 parties: the Winston's engineers, the OG Ghostbusters, and the Spangler family. Yeah, with maybe Melody or Phoebe removed to be with Melody,
and they all have business, and they're at the climax. Part of the difficulty is them getting back together so that they can do the thing. Yeah, I like it. It's a cleaner movie. It's maybe not the big brain deconstruction of ghost containment that I wanted, but I still like it. I think it's a much cleaner film.
Yeah. I do think that would be that would be a very interesting movie, and it could be a very like a good swan song for the whole franchise if in the end they realize that like actually busting ghosts in this way is not good, we have to like there has to be a better way to help these ghosts onto their next plane of existence, and then like, I mean, no studio would ever want to kill a franchise like that. But who cares? That like, sometimes, things are allowed to end, as Patrick H. Willems recently had a big long video essay about, and that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Speaking of things having to end, we're approaching the end of the episode, but first we have listener comments. Thank you to everyone who contributed. Scott, you want to start us?
Sure. Bogoload over on our Discord says, I don't know that you can fix it. Well, I've got news for you. We fixed it.
You're probably right. No, wait, yes. Yeah, I think we did a good job. But I can see it does seem overwhelming. It really, it took me breaking down the problem into multiple steps. Like it's such a, and you're watching, and it's one of the reasons it's such a drag is like you're watching it and you're like, oh my God, this is like falling apart before my eyes.
Yeah.
Like the lore dump is not subtle. And the convoluted Phoebe has to take her soul out of her body so that she can be used as a puppet to say the magic words is convoluted.
Yeah. There's a lot in this. There's a lot of pieces in this movie I like, but I recognize that it's a jumbled mess.
Yeah, it does feel like you're dumping a 1,000-piece puzzle onto a table for the first time and being like, all right, how do we put this together in 30 minutes?
Small detail I forgot. When I was talking about cutting characters, you also cut Slimer, and because now Finn Wolfhard has something to do, but you make the slime ghost, not Slimer, aka Onion Head, and not, or maybe the little guy we had in the movie, but you the Venn diagram between Slimer and the little cute guy that's in this movie that also spits slime is Baby Slimer. And how they didn't want to merchandise like Baby Yoda style Baby Slimer is like they have Slimer and they have a cute slime different ghost. Yeah. And at no point was anyone like Baby Slimer.
Yeah.
No, they were really working those baby Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
I forgot to mention it, but we're cutting the baby Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. They're gone.
Just
they're
in
not
podcast
in this
room
movie.
for no reason.
Yeah, they're not in this movie at all.
Mech/Mara says, I'd have made it gayer.
I mean,
yes,
sure.
They should have kissed.
Absolutely.
Phoebe should have kissed the ghost.
Yeah.
Or at least gone in for it and then get interrupted by an explosion. Like if you really can't, you don't want to show too, but like it's so heavily implied that it's now cowardice that they don't just out and out say it.
Yeah.
Robin Taylor says, my thoughts on Frozen Empire? The first half is pretty good. Sets up conflicts and stakes, explains the new normal. The second half is a rushed mess. Bronze as a weapon is revealed and deployed immediately. Fire powers are revealed, mocked, and ignored until the end. Fire powers manipulating the plasma of the throwers happens too late. There's a lot of good ideas that aren't explored or set up early enough. The biggest issue is the stupidity. They create a new facility with massive containment, but no one ever thought about redundancy if there's a failure. It's bananas. Far more satisfying if they have a million redundancies and the caged ghosts work together to overwhelm them. Also, the young queer relationship is really cute, but Melody's motivation is undercooked. Also stupid that Phoebe can murder herself for 2 minutes with no effect on her body. The nostalgia bait is pukey. They talk about absolute zero, but never demonstrate the threat. Robin's talking about stuff that we talked about a lot here. He's also very clearly seeing the flaws in this plot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that he touches on the redundancy of the containment thing because there's so much is made about the old containment unit in the building in the firehouse, like almost coming apart. I'm a little bit just say, does it ever bust open? Does it ever burst open?
Yeah,
because it gets emptied so that they can trap Garaka in it.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
right.
Which is silly in a way because how does they don't really explain how the ecto containment unit recloses. That's just kind of magic. I guess you don't. I don't know. I don't know. It strains crudely a little bit because it is they show how it works in the beginning, like very intentionally. That like you put the trap in, you got to do this. The handle's got to go down, and that's how the trap is clean. Then they show a diagram of like how like Egon Spengler's like original diagrams of the trap and how it works. So it is like it's a very physical thing. So if it blew up, like it's not just going to reseal itself. So that kind of bothered me.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I remember it like closes. It's what makes the sky laser. I remember that now.
Well, and
fucking sky laser.
And in fairness, in Liam's version, the brass orb isn't destroyed, and they use it to retrap Garaka in this case.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
It was such a good idea that I forgot that didn't happen. In my memory, he goes back in his orb like a Pokemon.
He's ice type.
Ew.
He's iced and ghost type. Oh man!
Wow, man.
They should make a live action Pokemon movie. It'd be great for our podcast.
Yeah.
Fix my pop filter. Tax says, so I kind of wanted to figure out how to have the original Busters in the movie without them stealing too much of time and focus. I propose limiting them to 3 short scenes. Agreed. Near the beginning, Ray, Venkman, and Winston show up to the family to offer their support in starting up a new Ghostbusters business. The most generous thing they believe they can do is take care of all the paperwork. They rattle off long list of semi-plausible licenses, certificates, permits, all of which they clearly learned through trial and error, and many were probably invented because of them. They are reluctantly and bitterly experts on all of them, so they leave to take care of all that. When will they be back? It's City Hall. We'll be back when we're back. Halfway through the movie, when we need a revelatory expedition dump, they call Ray, who gives them the answer while standing in a crowded line. In the background, Venkman and Winston are trying to pull some kind of good cop, bad cop routine with the teller at a different window. At the end, the OG Busters triumphantly arrive at the climax with most of the necessary paperwork done. When asked why they don't come when the chaos was happening, Ray genuinely responds, "We knew you could handle it."
I mean, I think it's a funny plot beats. My one problem with that is that I really like Winston being around to show them the lab. I kind of like Janine working with him as well. Mm-hmm. I liked that Venkman showed up to do his weird "I'm testing you for psychic abilities" thing. Like, I liked that they were all baked into the plot. But I will admit, Tax idea does still give them the opportunity to show back up in time to grab the fire pole. Because everybody needs to touch pole at the end with Liam's version. And we were talking about making it gayer. I'm just saying.
Yeah. The other thing I like about this pitch is it sounds like it would actually have funny things for Bill Murray to do and say.
Yeah, and that's fair.
Because he none of his lines in this are good. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, what a waste of Bill Murray.
Yeah, there's one moment where they're all facing off against Garaka. And they haven't really done anything to him. Like and Bill Murray says, "Well, being nice didn't work." Well, it's like, well, you didn't do anything. You haven't been nice to him yet, so obviously it's not going to work. And so then they decide to throw this
all dark and horny.
Yeah.
Great. Well, that's been the last Ghostbusters movie we are going to talk about for a while.
Yeah.
Fixin' makes me feel good.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that for sure.
Yeah, there you go. A new tagline for the
You can tell us what you think about that new tagline on various social medias right now. You can go to ihavesomenotes.bluesky.social, I have some notes pod on Instagram, or I have some notes on Facebook. But as we mentioned again and again, the Discord server, that's the best place to talk to us. You can talk to us all the time. We're always there. We're chatting. We're having great conversations with other listeners. We're talking about new releases. We're talking about fixes for upcoming movies. We're talking about TV shows. You name it, there's a conversation going on. You can join by following the links on all of the social media accounts that I just mentioned or at ihavesomenotes.com. And, as always, give us a little rating and a review on your podcatcher of choice.
You can also support us at patreon.com/ihavesomenotes. Become an armchair screenwriter for $4 a month. It's mostly like a tip jar situation. It's a, hey, thanks for the show, supporting us. There is some bonus content on there, more likely on the way. We don't schedule it. We're just looking to help. If you would like to help us, that's the avenue to do it. And we will shout you out and thank you on the podcast, just like these folks. Sharon, Karen, Tack, Josh, and Robin.
Yeah. And as usual, we're back in 2 weeks. We're going to be doing some avenging. Toxic avenging,
Ew.
that is. Which is definitely the movie you were just thinking of. Toxic Avenger 2025 in a couple weeks.
Until then, I'm Liam Creswick.
I'm Scott C. Bourgeois.
I'm Greg Beaver. Keep watching the skies.